Today, Delaney's going to talk to us about her journey as well. Obviously, you know that she lost a lot of weight, but there's a lot more to it than that. And she's going to talk about probably maybe some food addiction and some other things that come up when you're trying to lose weight. And I'm glad that you're here representing because it's important to say that you're 21, even though when I speak to you, it doesn't feel like you're 21. It feels like you're a few decades older than that. It feels like you're very mature and very intelligent and also just have lots of experience for someone your age. So I think it's going to be very helpful to people because it seems, especially with this whole food plant-based lifestyle, it seems like people don't get on board with it or don't learn about it until, maybe they're in their 40s or later than that. And it's time for young people who don't know about this to learn about it because it's just so important for them to find help in the right places because there's a lot of information on the internet and there's a lot of fad diets and a lot of things that maybe not be very healthy long term. So I think it's just time for people to see that something can work and it can also be healthy for you.
Yeah, I mean, I think that I have yet to meet another 21-year-old who I mean, let's see. I've yet to meet another true 21-year-old that is like plant-based and passionate about it. I definitely met plenty of 21-year-olds and people that are younger that are morbidly obese, like my size or my size on a smaller body frame, et cetera, et cetera. I think that it is truly a problem that our country is facing, and I feel like lucky to be given the opportunity to be like on the other side of it. I feel that I'll give you like a little backstory on like me. So like I said, I'm 21. I'm turning 22 next Thursday actually. And I don't want to be like, oh, I never thought I was going to be alive, but I definitely didn't think my life was going to be going in the direction that it is. I was always bigger, like growing up. All of my parents and my siblings were like this big. They were tiny. My brothers, I have 3 younger brothers. They're all athletes. I was always bigger. I was always, commented on about my weight. I was a secret eater. I was an emotional eater. I was a food addict. I was whatever you want to call it. That was me. I was like an alcoholic, but with food, and because people are like, you can't be a food addict. You just have binge eating disorder. And it's like, no, I was addicted to food. Like literally I would get a sensation in my body when I would eat a certain food and I'd be like, and then I would eat it again and, and so on and so forth. And then lo and behold, at 19 years old, yeah, I tipped the scale at 382 pounds.
And how tall are you?
I'm 5'10".
Okay.
I grew like half an inch after I kind of lost weight, but I'm like 5'10". And at 19 years old, I couldn't walk. I was in college at Oregon. I didn't go to class. Didn't go to class. I couldn't walk to class. I couldn't fit in the desks at class. I didn't want to go to class. Like everything was so hard for me. I had joined a sorority. I didn't go to sorority events because I didn't want to walk to the house because the house was so far away. I literally would stay in my dorm and in my dorm's lounge room, which was next door to my dorm room, and downstairs because the dining hall was downstairs. I wouldn't even venture to the other dining halls because the half-mile walk was too much for me, or like the attempt to put on shoes was too hard for me. And in turn, like my food addiction was totally affecting my entire life. Like I wasn't proud of the human I was becoming. I was wasting my parents' money going to an out-of-state school, not going to class, failing class. Like I'm not a student. My family is not a family that gets put on academic probation. And here I was, my freshman year of of college, on academic probation. And so let's see, COVID hit in April of 20. Oh, well, yeah, COVID hit in April of 2020, and one day I'm never gonna forget this day. My mom walked out of the shower and she came to me and she was like, "I want to see your grades."
Oh, you know, when you would talk, just to hold on to that for a minute. I mean, I have 3 older kids, all right? So
Hmm.
they went through college already, and I know you go your freshman year in college, even in a perfect world, it's kinda scary, it's dramatic, it's the first time you're ever really on your own, away from everybody. Just for a person that's just going through
Hmm.
normal 18, 19-year-old, 17-year-old stuff. It's a
Yeah,
lot, living in a dorm, getting used to the personalities of the people and trying to figure out what you wanna be and the grades and all that.
yeah,
And just that alone is that's just so much stuff to go through, but you had all this other stuff on
yeah.
top of it, and I just can't imagine, you know?
I mean, like for me, so she like I'm never gonna forget this. She walked out of the shower and she was like, I want to see your grades. And in that moment, I knew like, well, I knew I was literally failing all of my classes. So like I knew this was not what we do. This is not what the Zinn family does. You are a good student. I'm a smart kid. I'm smart. I should not be failing my classes. And we pulled up my grades and she was like, well, this is just unacceptable. You have, 2 options. She was like, listen, I'm not going to help you continue to kill yourself. I'm not going to do it because I had been seeing a therapist who was like, you're not going to talk about the weight. Like the weight is, you need to love Delaney for who she is. And, um, and so like for a year, yeah, a year plus, no, actually I would say like probably 2 years, like we didn't really talk about my weight and I just continued to like get bigger and
Wow.
bigger and bigger. And my mom, like looking back, she said, she's like, I think I was just, sick with the problem. Like, cause she would think to herself, like, she's getting bigger. Maybe I'm just going crazy. Like I'm imagining. Um, but she said, I'm not going to help you kill yourself. I'm not.
Wow. So at
Um,
least she was understanding. She realized what was I mean, did you kinda talk to her about why she asked you why you
um,
didn't go to class? Or I
no,
mean that
she didn't. She didn't know. She just knew like I was not a failing student,
yeah.
and I was super fat. And I mean, it was like it was very obvious like I was in an addiction. If you I have so both my parents are recovering addicts, and so it's like destined in my blood. So like when you're an addict, you know an addict.
Yeah.
Like you can see an addict if you're an addict. And so she could see an addict. She's a recovering addict. She knew an addict. And she used to say to me growing up, like, oh, well, you're a food addict. And I'd be like, no, I'm not a food addict. You can't live without food. You can live without alcohol, but it would be like literally the addiction talking. Like, I would be the nastiest human known to mankind. And it would be the addiction, like solely the addiction coming out in all my life since I was like 3. But so
Would you
she,
say that that was around when I mean, it was that young, that thing
I was like a sneak eater at like probably 2. So, I mean, I was a food addict at 2. I would be eating a popsicle and I would literally be eating the popsicle like 18 months old, look at my mom and go, Mommy, when I'm done, can I have another one? And she'd be like, well, let's just enjoy this one. And I'd be like, okay, but I want to know, like, when I'm done, am I going to be able to get another one? Um, so yeah, from a very early age, I was a sneak eater. I had a cabinet in my bedroom at 5 years old that was stashed with all of my wrappers. I would walk downstairs tiptoe, right after like I'd make sure I would look to see if my parents' light was shining under their bedroom door, and once it was turned off, I would sneak downstairs and go and sneak snacks. Like at the time, my parents were not plant based or anything, so we had everything in the crackers, snacks, bars, etc. And my mom would like open the cabinet and out would pour wrappers. I had snacks hidden everywhere in my school backpack, in my dress, my nightstand at home. from a very, very early age. Like when I was younger and I was heavy, I was always heavy. I was always one of the bigger kids in my class. My mom would be like, I never see her eat. I would be eating all of the time in secret. I was a very secretive eater. I was very ashamed. Um, and when like you're ashamed, like my mom has always told us, like, it doesn't matter who else knows. The most important person knows. If you're doing something that you're not proud of, it doesn't matter if she knows or if it's me, like I knew.
Yeah.
And so I had lost weight, gained weight all my life. I'd gone to like weight loss summer camps when I was younger. My freshman year of high school, I went to a weight loss boarding school. I had always done like fantastic. If you put me in the right environment, I'm going to do great. But I would always, so after the weight loss boarding school, I had gotten down to like my smallest size ever. I think I was like 170 pounds.
How old were you then?
I was about 15.
Okay. So you're still growing.
Yeah.
Still, yeah.
So after that, I started gaining weight, like my sophomore year of high school. So like my freshman year of high school, I lost all the weight, right? Had a great summer, was feeling fantastic, went back to school, like didn't cure that food addiction at all by any way, shape, or form, and started to gain weight. And not only did I gain everything back and more, like I gained everything back, I gained more. And then I just continued and continued and continued and continued to gain until one day I topped over the scale at 382 pounds. And that's where like my journey began. I was 19 years old. I couldn't walk. I couldn't really do anything. My life was miserable. I didn't want to do anything except eat. And so my mom sat me down that day and she was like, listen, I'm not going to help you kill yourself. So you can either get help or you can move out.
Oh.
And at first I was like, I'm moving out.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, when you're talking to an addict, like they don't want to stop their drug of choice. They want to move out. But I was raised by my mom for the first 5 years of my life. It was just me and her. She's my best friend. And so I think that like when the thought of like losing her and like that relationship was more important to me. So at first, yeah, I answered. I was like, I'm moving out. And she was like, okay. And I like had called a friend and I was like, quote unquote, making arrangements.
I wonder what was going through her mind. Like as a parent, sometimes you say something and you're thinking like, well, they're not going to do that, obviously. So, and then you kind of,
right.
Ugh.
I mean, my mom knows me really well. Like she probably knows me better than anyone. And I'm like, I'm sure if I went and asked her, she would say that she knew I was bluffing. And in the moment, I didn't think I was bluffing.
Right. Yeah.
Like, I was like, no, you can't love me just because I'm fat. Like you have a problem with me being fat. Like, and I don't want to be around that anymore. So no, I'm leaving, whatever. But I thought about it and I came back to her and I was like, no, okay, never mind. Like I'll get help. And so we pulled out the computer and she was like, well, I only know of like 3 places to send you because there's no food addiction treatment centers. People don't even recognize it as a real addiction. There was this place in California called Rebecca's House. It was more of like an eating disorder facility, like a real residential treatment. There was True North and I think San Jose. It's somewhere in middle California. And there was Dr. Furman's Eat to Live Retreat.
And True North and Dr. Furman's Eat to Live Retreat both are about the whole food
plant-based lifestyle. My mom had become whole food plant-based pretty like she converted in 2011 and then she like really firmed up in about like 2012, 2013, I think, if I'm recalling correctly. And so like from 2012 or whatever, her and my dad had been plant-based and like our house was plant-based, but we would eat whatever we so saw fit outside of the house. Because I was not, when my mother came home after watching Forks Over Knives in the movie theater, I was like, You've lost your mind. I'm not becoming crazy.
Right.
Like, literally, I came home one morning. I'm like in 7th grade, and my fridge and everything was cleaned out. And I was like, you've really lost your mind. So she had already been plant-based, so it was a big part of her. She felt so much better. She literally aged backwards. Like, my mom is going to be 58 in May, and she doesn't look a day over 40. My friends are like, wow, your mom is so hot, you know. So it worked wonders for her. She feels amazing. She loves this lifestyle, and that she believed that it was going to help me. I wasn't a fan of the lifestyle. I mean, I was like, okay, whatever. So there's True North and Eat to Live at Furman's Eat to Live. And my grandmother, since I had been growing up, was a huge Furman follower. She was a pioneer of health in and of herself. She started her own fresh fruit, vegetable juice and smoothie company that my mom now runs and takes over, and I'm working at. So she was always way ahead of her time. She had like an exercise show on CNN before exercise was a thing. She was a stretch coach for the Atlanta. So like very, very ahead of her time, very in it with the health and wellness. And my mom had grown up that way. And so I had as well. Like, my mom was very healthy, not perfect, but relatively. And then when I'd always grown up loving vegetables, etc. But I felt that because my grandmother had been such a Furman follower that I was meant to go to Furman. And we called, and we're like, it's height of COVID. There's no way they're taking people.
Were you kind of secretly hoping that that was the case?
Kind of. But I knew that it was one way or another I was going somewhere.
You were going to go somewhere. Hey, do you mind if I share a picture of you?
Go right ahead.
Okay, so I'm going to try to see if I can do that. And you want to talk about that picture, and then you can continue on?
So that honestly wasn't even at my biggest. I would probably say I was like 360, 345 there. It's crazy to look at that picture, because sometimes when I look at myself in the mirror right now, that's what I see. And I have to go to myself like, no, like, you're not, okay, yeah, you're not where you want to be. Like, I'm not exactly at the end of my journey. I'm still on it. But to look at that picture, it makes it more like, this is like, I really did this. Like, I actually did the hard work. You know, I tell my customers, I'm like, oh yeah, I lost 150 pounds. And they're like, what? And I'm like, yeah. And she was hurting. Like, this girl right here, she was hurting. Her body was hurting. She looks like I like look at that picture and I imagine taking like a pin and just exploding. Like, that's how I felt. Like, those pants, they were almost too tight on me, and they were like a size 26 wide. I was at a friend's house, and I remember, like, I would constantly be eating all of the time. Like, maybe every hour, every 45 minutes, you know. And she was very lonely. Like, very, very lonely. And very miserable. And that was probably, like, I would say 6 months before I went to Furman. So we called like the Furman helpline, or their 1-800 number. And they answered, and my mom was like, well, I'm looking to send my daughter out here. She's a food addict who's morbidly obese, who needs to lose weight, et cetera, et cetera. And they were like, well, actually, Dr. Furman and Lisa are stuck in California. So they are at the retreat 24/7. And I kid you not, Amy, within like 5 days, literally Within 5 days, we had called, and I was on a plane to San Diego. I checked into the Eat to Live retreat on April 11th, 2020, and I was terrified. And it was the best experience of my life.
Now you said that you had been to other things when you were younger, like
Yeah, I had,
when
but they had been,
but were
they had
you
been relative.
terrified when you went to those places?
No,
So
because
that's
they were like standard American diet
okay.
life. But I also knew that if I didn't do anything right now, like this was it for me. Like I wouldn't survive past like not saving my life right now. I think subconsciously I knew that.
That is such
Um,
a lot for such a young person to have to deal with, you know?
yeah,
I mean, it's a lot for anybody to deal with, but, to not have the as when you're older, you have experiences in life that you see things that aren't going well, and then you see the other side of them, and you get that a lot over decades of living where you say, "Well, this is not good, but probably it's gonna be alright." But
yeah,
you didn't have a collection of those experiences in your life to see that something terrifying might may be okay and maybe things will be alright. But you were terrified because you knew basically what the food was gonna be like because that's what your mom was eating that you
I
didn't
mean, I like plant-based food. I have no problem with it. I was an addict. Like
Right.
I'm literally walking into a facility to help myself. And I wanted the help so badly. But let me tell you, like, I was very lucky that I was never pre-diabetic or had high blood pressure or had high cholesterol. Like I was blessed with very good health and very good numbers. But I was still like morbidly obese, couldn't. And I remember I'm at the retreat and I think it was Dr. Furman. He was like, well, you can't have rice and potatoes like anymore because he's not a fan of rice because of the arsenic and the potatoes because they're very high glycemic. Well,
Yeah.
he will say like if you are at your ideal weight, you can sure like eat potatoes. But when you are someone who is losing weight, you should not be eating high glycemic foods. Like maybe the occasional sweet potato, but let me tell you, Amy, I called my mom like in hysterical tears. Tears. I was like, he's crazy. Because I was like, well, I want to go eat sushi with my friends. Like, how am I not going to eat rice? Da 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 da. And he was like, well, this is what if this you're going to live this life, like this is what you're going to do.
Mm.
So I spoke to
Yeah.
my mom for like 45 minutes, tears. Um, but I was like, okay. She was like, you just have to do it for today. Like, it's just for today. What you choose to do tomorrow is something totally different. Has nothing to do with today. So today you're going to choose, not to eat rice and potatoes. And I mean, I couldn't even get on social media because I would be looking at, those like delish videos or the tasty videos of like these. And I'd be like, oh, that looks so good. And let me tell you, for the first 6 weeks at least, I was sitting there and I was like, okay, this is my plan, right? I'm going to be there for 3 months roughly in the airport. I'm going to have one cheat meal. And then when I get home, I'm going to be perfectly compliant and good, right? And for 6 weeks, I believed that wholeheartedly, 100% that was what I was going to do. And that was that. And then one day I woke up and I was just like, okay, this is it. Like, this is how I'm supposed to like how I'm meant to live the rest of my life.
That I think that a lot of people who are addicted to things, it's frightening,
Oh, it's terrifying. Well, you're literally
right?
taking like my drug of choice away from me and like any emotional experiencing that I had to go through, positive, negative, mediocre, anything, I used food. So here you are taking that away from me and you're asking me to experience like it was terrifying. I'm sorry, like, I'm a food addict. I'm crying over rice. Like, really? Like, rice and potatoes. It's as if, like, I only can eat rice and potatoes. I'm over here hysterical. My mom is like, it's just the addiction talking, you know? And I mean, no, I'm not at my ideal weight, but do I occasionally eat rice and am I fine? Yes. Do I feel like I have to eat rice every single day? No. But I distinctly remember sitting outside, bawling my eyes out to her, telling her that they told me that I can never have rice or potatoes again. And truly thinking that they've absolutely lost their mind.
Yeah,
You-
and you kind of feel trapped, right? You're in this place that you're trapped. You're trapped in your body, and you're trapped in this place. And which trap do you want to be in?
Right?
And neither one of them are very look like the
No.
places that you want to be. Yeah. But now it doesn't. Now Dr. Furman, he has this thing called G bombs,
Yes.
and that's an acronym, and one of the letters is B, and it's for beans. So it's not
Yeah.
that you don't get any kind of starch,
Oh no, and he's huge
right?
on quinoa.
Yeah. I just want people to know that he's not.
Oh no,
He didn't
he's
take
not
all your starch away.
not anti-starch at all by any means. He
Yeah.
actually, like, we would do like bean pastas, or quinoa or beans or millet. He just white. Okay, so his thing with brown rice is that it's very high in arsenic, so he doesn't want you to absorb that, because it's if you eat enough of it, your body it'll absorb enough arsenic and that you can poison yourself. I mean, because the hull sucks it all the way up. And then the problem with the white rice is that it's a very high glycemic food item. So when you eat it, your body can digest it the same way it digests a Snicker bar. You know, you don't really get the full satiation and like full and long elongated digestion because of it. So, and then potatoes, like the same thing, high glycemic. So they're not like forbidden, but just when you are at almost 400 pounds at 21 years old, he's not going to tell you like, oh yeah, Delaney, go ahead and eat all the potatoes that your heart desires. Maybe when you're 24 years old and at 170 pounds or whatever, at your ideal weight, at your ideal BMI, like, yeah, sure, you want a potato, go at it, have at it.
Right. And also
But
he coined a word called nutritarian,
yep,
which means that he wants every bite that you take to be not just plant-based, but he also wants it to be high in nutrients. And
yes,
potatoes, compared to other food choices, or rice compared to other food choices, they are not high in what he has, the Andy scale, which is aggregate nutrient density index. But
mm-hmm,
so there are better choices. Beans are a better choice, in the quinoa and all the other things that you could have as kind of a filling thing. So that's another
yeah,
reason why that
exactly.
he says that. I just want, for people that aren't familiar with Furman, I want them to know that, because a lot of people are doing other things where they're just eating potatoes a lot,
Those, yeah. I
so
mean,
they
I
have
would
to
say,
see
like,
why.
truthfully, being that my mom has been plant-based for so many years, I mean, there's so many different plant-based doctors, and
Right.
everybody has their own belief system, et cetera, et cetera. I have to say, like, out of all of them, I believe that Furman is the most accepting and the most open-minded. Like, I remember, there was only 6 of us at the retreat at the time. I'm like the youngest by like 40 years. Like, everybody's 60 plus.
So there's more isolation, right? At least if
Yeah,
there
but
was somebody your age that you could,
I mean,
yeah.
truthfully, like, I met a guy there. He was like 70 years old, never had any children, never married, lived in Utah, and he became my best friend. We would walk together, we would go to the beach. And he totally made my time at Furman not worth it. I mean, it was worth it either which way, but so much more enjoyable. Like, I have so many memories that I can think back to that bring like such a smile to my eyes, and my heart. But yeah, I mean, I so yeah, like, I find him to be the most open and accepting plant plant based whole food doctor out there. Like, he would say like, oh well, if you want to have like any animal products, it needs to be like 5% or less of your weekly consumption, and make sure that it's very like nutrient dense animal products. Granted, I don't have any, but that is just, I just thought that that was very cool. Like,
Right.
everybody over here is like, no, no this, no that. I mean, he's totally pro avocado. He's totally pro nuts, you know.
Again, because with the nuts,
Yeah,
because of
there's
the
no nutrient debt.
nutrient, yeah, with the value that they have for nutrients, and yeah, absolutely.
And so let's see, I was at the retreat for 3.5 months. Totally changed my life. I had lost 60 pounds while being at the retreat. And I got my life back. Like,
That's a big deal to say you got your life back in 3 months.
I mean, but I did.
Wow.
Like, I went from literally, Amy, like not being able to walk to like easily walking 4 to 5 miles a day. Um, I had joy. I wanted to do things. I
Oh,
wanted to.
I wanted to share I'm sorry, I wanted to share this picture because
Yeah.
I'm wondering, I don't know if this was while you were at the retreat or not.
Oh yeah. So that was while I was at the retreat. That was about, I would say, a month into my stay, and I was still well at the beginning stages of my journey, but I could touch my toes. Like, there were so many things that I forgot that are normal things to do, like wrap a towel around yourself. Like, you take that for granted when you're a normal size. Like, I couldn't wrap a towel around myself at 21 years old. Like, well, I can now, but at 19 I had to use like a beach towel.
When you
I
would take a shower or whatever, yeah.
I hated showering at school because I would have to either change in the shower stall or, walk back to my dorm room, which was like 10 steps, but still it's like 10 steps of awkwardness. So I used to always like throw on this big t-shirt and like these shorts to like then go into my room and whatever, but I couldn't wrap a towel around myself. Like, all the other girls were walking up and down the hallway in their little towel wraps that you have a Velcro strap on and they can just walk up and down, no big deal. Like, I couldn't do that.
Mm.
So the night I got out of the shower and I wrapped the towel around my body, and it closed. I had totally forgot that it was something I was missing. And now it's like something that I make sure, like, I know I can do, it's like a security. I couldn't fit in an airplane seat. I used to like, think to myself, like, I would look at people when, I would be walking down the aisle. And I mean, I know, like, they have said, oh,
I was missing a slide there. That was the airplane seat.
yes, that was on my
Yeah.
flight home from Furman, and I could close the seatbelt.
Wow.
So before, I was too embarrassed to ask for an extender, so I would just fake it
Oh,
on my flights.
yeah.
So not only could I fit in the seat, but I also could close the seatbelt and I could pull it tighter. So that was like a huge, huge deal for me. I mean, there were so many things that I just forgot being able to do. Like, I have 3 younger brothers. One is 17, one is 15, one is 11. Like, I couldn't do anything that the 11-year-old wanted to. He wanted to go to like the amusement park. I couldn't go. I can't ride in any rides. You wanted to go run around. Like, can't do that. I can't move. So like, I got my life back. Like, yeah, I was still like 300 pounds, but I was able to walk and move around and go to work and stand on my feet for 8 hours a day and not be obscenely uncomfortable. Like, I was happy. I wanted to live life. Like, I wanted to be around. I never want to say like I was suicidal, but I had no desire to live. Like, I was living to eat versus like eating just to live, and yeah, Dr. Furman totally saved my life and changed my family along with it. Like I said, I'm not exactly where I want to be yet, but I'm excited for the future. I'm hopeful for the future. I know that I will get there. And I want to make like my goal and my mission is to like help other people, Um, it's a very daunting thing to say like, oh, I'm plant-based, because a lot of people think that, a lot of people go like, I would rather die than eat that way.
Yep. Yeah.
And, I was talking to a friend about this recently, and for me, like a lot of people in the community, it's like an all or nothing, mentality. Like you either are committed or you're not. But I know so many people who, like, I met them and they wouldn't even eat celery. Celery, it's like, I feel like it's the most basic, like,
Right.
friendly vegetable for, like, you can eat it with rings, like. I had a friend who wouldn't touch vegetables when I met her, and I had like begun my journey. I had like started losing weight, etc. Right, and I would say to her, like, okay, like, just for today, like, my mom, like I said, I work for a fresh fruit and vegetable juice and smoothie company. We make fresh vegetable juice. And I would say, like, listen, like, let's just try to drink this one juice. It was a celery juice. It was celery and lemon, like, nothing super hard, like, pretty easy. And if you don't, and slowly from that, it evolved from, like, just celery juice, like our hardest core vegetable juice, which has, like, cucumber, celery, spinach, kale, etc. Like, from there, it evolved from, like, when she would have lunch, like, it would be like, oh, like, let's get a salad, like, from a local salad bar. Oh, and then she would get, like, a sandwich from, like, a sub place, but instead of, like, getting it in a sub anymore, she'd get it in a bowl, like, and it's like, slowly but surely people will make the changes and they'll incorporate the vegetables into their life. And I'm a big believer in, like, meeting them where they're at. Like, if you come at with, like, oh, you have to do this right now, like, any human's gonna go, like, oh, forget it, like, I'm out, like, I'm not for me, you're crazy, you're like, they'll literally be like, you're crazy. And for me, it's like, I want to help people change their life. And I think slowly but surely, like, slow and steady always wins the race, right? Like, some people are the kind of person that they can go, like, okay, this is it, I'm done. Like, my mom is that way. She saw forks over knives and she was like, all right, that's it, I'm plant-based. Me, on the other hand, I'm like, oh, plant-based, oh, you're crazy. Like, but I think that it was, for me, like, to start my journey, I was at the right time, the right place, and I was just desperate enough. If you're not truly desperate to do anything, you're not ready.
Yeah, that's so true. I have people that I meet and know, and my family members know, and a lot of them really do need the help, and they
I
they have to want it more than you want it for them.
I have a plethora of family members that need the help. Like, I mean, and I care deeply. Like, I would be devastated if, God forbid, something happened to them, but
Yeah.
I can't want it for them. Because when I was younger, my mom wanted it for me, and I wanted it for her. Like, I wanted to lose weight for her, but when I went to ferment, I finally decided that I wanted this for me. Like, I saw myself getting my life back in, like, these little ways. And it's like, oh my God, there is a light, like, at the end of the tunnel. Like, okay, I can do this. Like, I'm okay being different. That's the thing. Like, it's okay to be different. Like, they tell you that all of the time, but it's a daunting task. Like, it's daunting to be 20 years old and go, like, oh, I don't eat any meat, dairy. Da, da, da. Well, where do you get your protein? And I'm like, well, beans, tofu, you know, vegetables. Like, do you know how much protein is in 100 calories of broccoli versus 100 calories of a Snickers bar? You get like 4 times the amount of protein in broccoli in 100 calories than you do in 100 calories of Snickers. Why would I want to eat 100 calories of a Snicker bar? Well, that's just, you know, but I think I was kind of all over the place in regards to, like, my journey. If anybody wants, like, my personal page, I'm happy to, like, give it to them.
Yeah, I'll give you a chance to talk about all of that too. I wanted to show this picture as well.
Oh, yeah. So that picture was when I lost my first 100 pounds.
I love it. That was so clever.
So actually, my parents had surprised me at work with balloons. Like, I had weighed myself that morning, and I had been closed for about a week. and I crossed over the threshold. I think I had weighed in at like 280.4 or something like that. And I called them. They were on their way home from yoga. And I was like, I did it. I lost my first 100 pounds, you know. And they surprised me at work with balloons. I showed them to my customers. And it was, I can't wait to take my picture with the 200.
Oh, yeah. That's
That's what I'm
right.
most excited for. That's what I'm like looking forward to is that. I mean, it's not a small feat to lose 100 pounds. I don't be like, oh, I lost 100. Like, I don't say it lightly. It took a lot of hard work, determination, but I have to say, like, looking at it, I couldn't have done it without like my people, my village, my cheerleaders, my friends, whether they are on the journey with me or not, meaning like lifestyle wise. There were countless times where like I would be crying over feeling defeated, and they'd be like, no, like you don't understand like what you've done, you know. You have totally like, you can't just be like, oh, I'm not, yeah, I'm not where I want to be. And I'm like struggling so much with that right now. um but I I have to like look back and see, like, will you see that girl? Like, she never thought that she would be here. And it's true. Like, I never thought on April 11th, 2020, that my life would be changed forever. And it has. And I'm so grateful, so lucky. And I like want to help. My goal is to like help other people because it's like a serious problem in our world, especially in the Americas. Processed food is very addicting. It's literally funded by like the companies are funding like the American Cancer. Like, I'm never gonna forget, what was I watching? I think I was watching Game Changers, or yeah, or was it What the Health? It was one of those two. Like, those two are probably my favorite like plant-based movies. I'm a huge sports fan, so Game Changers totally up my alley. But they were talking about the fact that, you know, American Heart Association or American Cancer Association recommends this beef stew for like a recipe to make
On their website.
on their website.
I think that was probably What the Health. Yeah,
Yeah.
because they're like,
Who
"What?"
who funds the American Heart Association or the meat industry? Like, literally the worst thing you could give yourself dealing with heart problems funds the association that's supposed to be the trusted unit to protect and preserve, you know. And it's baffling. Like, the dairy industry controls the cancer association. Like, if a cancer patient, that's the last thing, you know, they should be eating. And I remember like Furman, he would say to me, he'd be like, well, listen, what you're doing right now is for the Delaney in 10 years.
Oh, that's a good way to think about it. Yeah.
Like, you're eating a Big Mac right now, you might not feel anything. You might be like, oh, I feel fine. But in 10 years, Delaney, you're gonna feel that Big Mac. And it's like, so my grandfather died in just this past November.
Sorry.
He died very unexpectedly. He had heart problems, and he like a year and a half ago in COVID, he went to the doctor because he had COVID, and the doctors were like, oh, well, you also have like a heart problem. You need to have, I think it was triple or double bypass. And my mom and dad were like, no, you're not going to Furman. Like, I mean, you're not going to have to bypass. Like, no, he didn't want it anyway. He ended up going to Furman for a month, totally changing his lifestyle, his diet. And let me just tell you, like, he lived with us for the last year of his life. And I think that was probably the best year of his life. And like, he died happy, you know. We traveled the world We did, you know, and I got to do that with him because I decided to change my life. Like, what if I didn't get to, you know, like, what if I chose to like not get better? You know, I couldn't
Yeah.
have gone on this. We went on a safari and this, like, I couldn't have done that.
Yeah.
I couldn't fly on a plane for 12 plus hours each leg because I'd be so uncomfortable. And I think about it like that. Like, everything I do right now is for 10 years from now. So like when I have children, God willing, one day, like I'll be able to run around and play with them
Yeah.
because of how I'm choosing to take care of myself right now. And I also won't like die the sad death where like hopefully you go through like the terrible 10 years of like losing control of your body or losing control of your mind. And then like, yeah, you might still be living, but I don't want to live and not know who I am or who's around me or what, you know. And I like, that's a very big reminder when I am like, when I make a choice, like I'm like, okay, well, you might enjoy this for the 5 seconds, but in 5 years, are those 5 seconds going to be worth it? Are you going to be looking back and going like, oh my God? And I mean, I know like I look back on my journey and I'm like, I never, ever at all regret this. I'm grateful for it. And I think that it makes me who I am. Like my own struggles with food insecurity, addiction help me be a better human and help me help other people. Because trust me, everybody is addicted to food, whether they want to admit it or not.
Yeah.
Everyone is. There is like you, if you have to eat like we are so addicted to food that we feel the need to eat like every 3 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Our body starts feeling like achy or pain or upset or hangry or you know, and you eat and then you go like, oh, I feel better, but you really just like put a band-aid on like the problem that's going to start gushing blood in like 5 years. This was kind of all over the place, but
No,
yeah.
it really wasn't. You in your mind you think it was, but it really wasn't all over the place. You touched upon a lot of important things about this that people are feeling in their hearts, in their minds, the people that are going through this themselves and trying to hide it from themselves. And
I'm a
so
queen liar to myself. Like, listen, my mom always told me from like a very young age, it doesn't matter who knows. The most important person knows, and that most important person is you. So like she might not know that I was sneaking food at 5 years old because she didn't see me, but I knew. And it's like you might say like, oh, Delaney is crazy, or oh, that's Delaney. That doesn't mean, truth be told, if you ask yourself, like, really, like, trust me, if how do I say this correctly? Like, you know. If you know, you know. Because when I knew. And I wouldn't waste another second of my life not knowing. Because trust me, it's way better to know. Be different. Be okay. Like, that's fine, you know? Like, be weird. Be weird. Because in 10 years, we're gonna be the normal ones. In 10 years, when our planet is failing and everybody's like, oh my gosh, we need to, and they're gonna be like, well, I don't know why we haven't been doing this for these, and we're all gonna be over here like, hey guys, we've been here all along, you know, like we're ready for you whenever you are. But yeah, change is scary. Change is hard. Being different is scary, and being different is hard. But I truly, like, truly, if you have the opportunity to do like one good thing or the next right thing, or just for today, do it. You won't regret it. It'll suck. I was talking with you about this earlier a little bit, but you know, it's like everybody who tries it, they go for like a week and a half of detox, and it can be horrible. You can feel like you have the flu, and they're like, screw this isn't working, like I'm not doing this anymore. And I'm like, if I was telling Amy, I'm like, if you only hold on like a little bit more, you're going to get to the light at the end of the tunnel, and it's going to be all worth it. You just have to get there. And it's the truth. I went through 6 weeks of quote unquote hell, but I made it through to the light at the end of the tunnel, and I wouldn't change it for the world. I'm like able, there's so much in my life that I'm going to be able to experience because of this, and I'm so grateful for this way of eating and this lifestyle.
Yeah, I think that a lot of people needed to hear that because it's just it's a temp. In the big scheme of things, 6 weeks feels like a long time, but in the big scheme of things, in your on your lifeline, it's just a blip on the radar screen.
Mm-hmm.
And what you did for your future you was
Yeah,
just
like I just like I guess kind of, I mean, when you're very overweight and your hormones are very out of balance as a woman, there's a lot of problems that come with hormones not being in balance. And I always, like, always, always, always wanted to have children since I was young. Always, always, always wanted to have children. But when I started my like menstruation cycle and etc., like I was never normal. Like I was never regular. And I was like, oh, like that's just, how I am.
mm,
Um, I since changing my way of eating, my cycle is completely normal. Um, and it's like such a small thing, but it's like you don't realize it. You don't realize like, oh my God, such a small thing. Like, well, I used to think to myself, I'm never gonna have children because I can't have a regular cycle. And what you read is if you can't have a regular cycle, the likelihood of you being able to get pregnant is slim to none. And with the change in my eating, my skin cleared up, my energy was better. I have a cycle. I can move, I can run, I can jump, I can laugh. Like I can laugh and like actually laugh. Not like like laugh and like experience joy. And I totally credit it to this lifestyle.
wow. That is just so beautiful. Sheila said, "Big hug, Delaney."
Uh, so funny. I met Sheila through a plant-based meetup in Georgia.
Oh, okay.
She runs a plant-based pod, and I posted like my story on the Forks Over Knives Facebook group, and she commented, she was like, I have a plant-based Facebook group in Gainesville, Georgia. I mean, it's like an hour 20-30 minutes north of me, but I joined in like 6 or 8 weeks ago. My mom and I went to one of the potlucks and we met her there, and it's awesome to like create community within your community because it's so much easier to do this not alone. So
Mhm.
much easier. I was so lucky and so blessed that my entire family got behind this, um, and helped me because I couldn't
Yeah.
have done it without them.
Yeah, it's important, and some people aren't as fortunate. They sometimes will have family members that are actually trying to sabotage them.
Yeah,
So it's a big deal.
I
Apple said,
can't imagine what that's like.
yeah,
Um, I I mean, I like I said, I'm super grateful that my family was behind me 100%. Um, but just know that anybody who's out on their journey or starting their journey and their family isn't there for them, I'm here for you. Call me, text me, whatever.
yeah,
Any time of the day, I'm here. I've been
yeah.
trying to go to bed at 9:30, but I'll wake up and answer you. I'm up early. Because
That's what it's
doing
about. It's about community. We have our plant green warriors here that we try to talk to each other and chat while we're watching an interview or what have you.
mhm.
And if you can find a meetup, that's even better. I had Sheila on the show, and she's just fabulous. But there are meetups all around the
Yeah.
world. And actually, you can just look for them, and you can also look with the Plant Pure communities. They have what are called pods, which is
Yeah.
similar to that.
That's how
So
we found Sheila.
yeah. So you can search on Plant Pure Communities, and they have a map, and you could search that way. Apple said, "I admire her honesty in sharing her story. So much heartbreak there.
Oh,
You're
well, you're
really touching a lot
welcome.
of people, Delaney." And
Um, I I like I remember like hearing this like hearing other people's stories and being like, well, that's them. That's not me. But trust me, like, I don't want to be like, oh, I get it. I get it.
Mhm.
Like, I grew up in a family that was all a size. Nothing like they're tiny, they're athletic. Um, I couldn't do anything with them. I mean, I love my brothers. I'm super close with them, but they were always like, go, 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 go. And
Yeah.
being
Like boys
overweight,
do.
being overweight, I was just miserable. And I never thought that there, like I said, I never thought that there'd be a light at the end of the tunnel. I probably honestly thought I'd probably be like bedbound or something. I didn't think that I would be out walking 5 miles in the morning with my friend every morning, going to the gym and lifting weights and actually enjoying exercise. I absolutely hated it. Um, and that's like, I guess, if I would tell like someone something to like make them consider or like strongly consider this lifestyle, it's like you have no idea what you're missing. You have no clue, none whatsoever. Because I had no idea. I had no idea what I had lost until I got it back.
Yeah, I think that that's a perfect way of putting it. So many people, when they learn about this lifestyle and they get convinced that it's something that they should do because they see people like you who have had these wonderful results, but yet all they keep thinking about is what they're going to lose,
Boost.
what they're going to miss, and they don't realize what they're going to get. The benefits from it are just going to be so much greater than what they're having to quote unquote give up. Because, well, for me, there were certain things that I enjoyed that I no longer have, but there's so many things that I eat now that I never even knew existed. So, and it's not just about eating celery and
No,
salads either, right?
100.
This,
No. I'm like on a huge soy curl kick. Do you know what those are? So
yeah,
like,
yeah.
so like, my brothers, like my dad loves them. We can toss them in like a no salt, no oil barbecue sauce, and it's like barbecue chicken. Throw it on like a piece of
Mhm.
Ezekiel bread or whatever, throw it on a salad, throw it on some grains. You gotta, there's so many things that, I mean, I learned how to make seitan. Like, I made it for Thanksgiving. It was so easy. So easy. It's probably like 152 times easier than making meat. Literally.
And
Because
you don't have to worry about cross contamination.
exactly, you don't have to worry about cross contamination. You don't have to worry about giving someone food poisoning. Like, it's like, oh, well, here, if this doesn't come out cooked, I'm just going to put it in a little longer. It's not going to be, it's not going to get too dry or whatever.
Yeah.
But
And it's
yeah.
amazing that there are things that nature kind of copies itself, Like, I remember the first time I went snorkeling and I saw schools of fish, and I said, these are flocks of birds, except they're underwater,
Water.
right? So when you have things like cooked mushrooms, the texture of it and just certain other things that are plant-based, they kind of copy and mimic the texture of other things that aren't plant-based. So
Oh my
there's
gosh,
really just
100%.
a lot of similarities in textures and
Let me
flavors.
tell you, like trumpet mushrooms, if you slice them and just like water saute them, they have such a meaty texture. It is absolutely insane. I make a one pot curry, chop up like a million and two different vegetables, throw a bunch of mushrooms in there, and I'll eat it for like and it takes like 10 minutes. Put some like a curry paste that I have made from a friend and call it even. But yeah, I mean, trumpet mushrooms, they're probably like them and portobellos are my favorite because
Mm.
they have such a hearty, meaty, like texture that I take the portobellos, I like slice them and I'll like put a homemade taco seasoning on top of them and I'll water saute them and it's like taco meat on whatever you want to put it with. But yeah, you really really I would totally give up rice and potatoes for what I got. Like there's no hamburger I could want to eat to if someone came to me and they were like, okay, Delaney, you can't eat everything. Like, you can eat Krispy Kreme donuts and you can eat hamburgers and McDonald's and Chick-fil-A, but you're going to lose the ability to sit comfortably in a chair, to sit comfortably in a plane, to walk, to honestly, like, be comfortable in your own skin, to like experience more vulnerability. Like, as a like a I was never I was never, what was it, like, ever in like a relationship, or like comfortable to get into a relationship because of my size. I would literally, like, if I got on a dating app, I would be like, well, I just like want you to know, like, I'm bigger, you know? Um and it's so it's so different, like, being comfortable in your size, you know, you can experience more vulnerability, and like, I feel okay with who I am. Like, I feel good enough as I am. Like, I don't need to go like, oh, well, I'm, 235 pounds. Like, I don't need to tell them that. Like, I'm comfortable in my skin. I'm comfortable with who I am. I know I'm on my journey. I'm not right where I want to be, but I'm getting there. And that's okay. I don't feel ashamed for doing anything. I don't worry, like, walking in somewhere like, oh my God, are they going to sit me at a booth where I'm not going to be able to fit?
Mm.
Or like, oh my God, are they going to sit me in a chair that has handles that is going to pinch my legs the whole time I'm sitting? I don't need to, like, quote unquote man spread my legs, because I can close them, sit them together, and be totally comfortable.
Yeah, these are big deals, very big deals, and
There's
things that
and
people can look
I would
towards.
never, ever, ever change it at all. Never.
Magdalena said, "Go Delaney." Do
Thank
you know
you.
Magdalena?
I do. She's my coworker.
Okay. The way you smiled, I thought
Yes.
maybe you knew who she was. Well,
Uh,
we usually play a game of true or false, but your story was so compelling, and I just really didn't even want to stop you from saying what you're saying. And I'm hoping that maybe you can come back again, or maybe you
yeah,
can
of course.
share. Maybe you can do like a cooking demo of one pot meal or something simple that people can say, "Oh, I can make that."
Yeah.
And it's not so hard. I would like to, if you could share with where people can follow you.
Yeah.
You're on Instagram, is that right?
Yeah. So you can, my Instagram is, like, it's on the video, keeping up with Delaney, with an underscore in between each word. And then my Facebook is also just my first and last name, Delaney Zinn. You can find me there. You can find me on Instagram. If you're in the Forks Over Knives Facebook group, I'm in there. Um,
Yeah,
yeah.
and that's what's wonderful, because you some of the pictures that I showed today were of you from your Instagram.
Yeah.
And it's just so wonderful that you also shared meals. There were some other pictures that you shared, but I didn't put them on here. But you actually even showed a picture of yourself with a towel wrapped
Yeah,
around you,
I
and you
did.
shared that excitement. So I'll keep the suspense for people if they want to check out your Instagram. They'll be able to see more
Yeah.
pictures, and food pictures too. So
Yes.
there's a lot of really delicious looking food on there. But I like a lot of the people that I interview have already lost all the weight, and now we get to see, and they talk about their journey, but we got you midpoint here,
Yeah.
which is really cool, because then if we have you come back again, then you could
Yeah.
update us, and I'm sure there'll be more lessons along the way that you can
A hundred
share,
percent.
and it's just so wonderful that we have you here to share your story. I can't tell you how grateful I am for that. It's a tough one. It really is. And you were so kind and brave, because I don't know, is this your first interview?
Yes, it is.
Nobody would know, right?
I was
I
I
don't
was
think
super nervous.
you did fine. I don't think anybody would know that it was your first interview.
Thank
But
you.
I just can't thank you enough. We need people like you in the world to share things with everybody else, to share their successes. And you keep saying I'm not where I want to be, but I think you right now you are where you should be. And
Yes.
that's as somebody that has had success, that is prepared to share a story, that can be an ambassador to this healthy lifestyle, and that can show people that even if you're not to your goal, whatever that goal is, you still can be in a good place,
Mm-hmm.
right? And
Yeah,
so
100%.
it's not like all or nothing, that if you until you get to that goal, that life isn't going to get any better, that
Oh,
it's
100%. Like,
improving along the way, right?
if someone came to me and was like, okay, well, this is how you're gonna live the rest of your life, like just like this, like how my life is going, I would be over the moon, because I love my life right now. Like, I'm happy to live my life. I'm happy to wake up in the morning. I'm excited to see what the day's gonna bring me, you know? So yeah, I'm not at the end of my journey, but I'm so proud of myself and totally content with what everything I've been able to accomplish. I mean, how many 21-year-old can say, oh yeah, I've lost 150 pounds?
That's a big deal.
It's a
That's a
big
big deal.
deal. It's
Yeah.
something that sometimes I take for granted, and I forget that, like, it's not a normal thing that just happens.
No, no, you definitely are a rock star as far as I'm concerned.
Thank you.
Well, thanks so much for coming on and sharing your story, and I do hope that you'll come back and maybe do a
I would
recipe
love
demo
to.
and give us an update. And I want everybody just I'd like to say that we should all applaud, but we can't. So just click like, and that's your applause. If you can do that, or send a heart or something. So that would be just so wonderful. And Green Warriors, tell us what you're going to remember. What was your takeaway for this interview with Delaney? And please stay tuned for a special announcement. And I'd like to thank Jess Task Voice. She did the promos and the voiceovers. And Jess Task Voice, tell us who's coming up next.
Joint pain, stiffness, or fatigue can be signs of chronic inflammation. Sid Nodder will teach us about inflammation and the best foods to eat, plus the ones to avoid, on Wednesday, January 18th, 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific, on Be Green with Amy Live.
And as a thank you to everybody, you can just go to begreenwithamy.com and type in that/join. And I'll send you 5 free recipes along with some of the pictures and things that I like to do with my plant-based lifestyle. And I think we all need this right now. So everybody take your right hand and grab your left shoulder, and take your left hand and grab your right shoulder. Now squeeze. And that's a hug from me to you, and to you, Delaney.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Me to you, Amy.
And if all of you would like to comment with Delaney along with me, and you can just type this in the comments below. You want to go ahead and help me with my tagline? All right. Well, until I see all of you again, remember, be strong, be well, and be green. Bye-bye, everyone. Bye, Delaney.
Bye. Great meeting you, Amy.
Great to meet you too. Bye-bye, everyone.
Now you can listen to Be Green with Amy expert interviews wherever you go. Listen while walking, meal prepping, or traveling. Find Be Green with Amy on Apple, Google, Alexa, Amazon, or virtually anywhere you find podcasts. Be strong, be well, and be green.